Hey, Kyle's Wonderful here again with another wrestling podcast. This time it's AEW Elevation and BTE from August 22nd, 2022. So we'll start this week's episode with BTE being the elite, with Kenny Omega returning last week. This is sure to be an important BTE. Not just that, but we've got all the drama between CM Punk and Hangman Page that we're still not quite sure if it's real or not, or if it's just a part of pro wrestling. So we might never find out that actual answer. But anyway, let's just enjoy the ride as it goes. We've also got two big storylines we could touch on BTE, as well as maybe checking on the Dark Order ahead of their first round matchup in the Trios tournament this Friday on Rampage against House of Black. So this is episode number 320 of BTE, and it is titled Kenny Omega is Back. So we start this week's BTE with inspirational music playing. We see the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who's playing pinball. The pinball machine says game over as Kenny Omega holds up his phone to reveal Cody Rhodes' face. Kenny has not been around since Cody left, so that was pretty funny. It didn't really lead anywhere. It just was an acknowledgement of Cody's face. And then it said the word game over as well at the same time. Kenny Omega and the Bucks all see each other now and run in slow motion with the inspirational music playing, eventually all meeting up for a three-man hug. Michael Nakazawa walks by and he eats a three-man super kick. So then the BTE opening video plays, and there wasn't the Cody joke wasn't like really a joke. It was just his face with the words game over, but it was funny. So anyway, after the opening video, we get a quick fit check here while Kenny and the Bucks dance around Nakazawa's body. So in the back now of the arena in Charleston, West Virginia, Ryan Nemeth passes by Trent Beretta, who's on his phone. Ryan wants to talk to Trent about sharks, but Trent wants to show his phone talking about squids. So neither man wants to listen to each other, so they leave upset. And now this is a big moment here. We see Matt Hardy watching TV. It's Private Party about to start their match from last week's Elevation. Brandon Cutler behind the camera asks Matt Hardy why he's watching that, and Matt says, I feel obliged to. I want them to do well. As you know, I feel guilty about derailing their careers. You know the expression, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, I think that'll apply to them. It definitely applies to them. Throughout this journey they've been on, I was fortunate enough to determine what's wrong with me. And I've said in the past, I'm not a good guy. But deep down inside, I'm a monster. I'll do anything to serve me. I would use people, chase clout, anything it took to make the highlight Matt Hardy. Now that I understand and accept that, I'm changing. I'm learning to deny my programming. So from afar, I will keep a close eye on Private Party because I owe it to them to make sure they correct course. With that said, they have. And then Matt Hardy walks away as we see Private Party win their match on Elevation. So, wow, not only is this big for Matt Hardy and Private Party's story arcs, but it's also running parallel to the same struggles that Christian and CM Punk are going through. Matt has figured it out and paid his penance trying to right his wrongs. Christian has just leaned full into it and has become a self-conceited prick out in the open, while CM Punk is doing the exact same thing, but he's able to hide it a little bit, although he kind of showed his hand calling out Hangman on Dynamite. So all three legends are going through the same moral dilemma, having become legends because of the fact that they were selfish and stepped on others to get there. Now they're trying to come to terms with that as their careers come to an end. We've heard Punk say before that he's looked in the mirror and asked himself, am I the bad guy? So we know that's on CM Punk's mind. We've also had a bunch of other guys on the roster call CM Punk out for being a bad guy. People that are good guys, such as Hangman Page, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, and MJF, who really isn't a good guy. But you could say MJF was a good guy until CM Punk left the business in 2014, turning MJF's heart black. So it's great to see this story arc with Matt Hardy and realizing that he was all bad and he finally figured it out once he told Jeff Hardy to join AEW so that the Hardy Boys can cement their legacy. Meanwhile, he dragged Jeff Hardy back into that dark place unwillingly, almost killing himself and others. So Matt's trying to do his best to make up for that and get to the other side. That where the end of the day, nobody is good or bad. Like in general, in life, nobody's all good or all bad. There's always time to change your ways as well. However, that never excuses your past mistakes. You can try not to make those mistakes again, but it'll never fully erase what you've done in the past. Just like if you accidentally kill a man or whatever, you can repent all you want, but at the end of the day, that man is no longer living. So great stuff all over AEW, because this is a very real thing. It's not just storylines for wrestling. And Matt probably, like, I'm not going to take it as like Matt's probably not the blame for Jeff like he is in the storyline, but the other parts about shades of grays in life and everything isn't black and white is another way to look at what Matt was talking about. So think of yourself, put yourself in the shoes of a young politician, for example. Stay with me here. This will get back to wrestling, but you start out as a young politician. You're small time with the goal to eventually change the world for the better. But after you get stepped on for a decade or two by people who are selfish, and you either quit while right there, or you start stepping on people yourself, creating one big vicious cycle that pretty much all of us have had to deal with in life in the real world. So by the time that politician gets anywhere close to having power to make real changes in the world, they're already in too deep. And without staying even more selfish and evil, they'll just get replaced while that they've already gotten there. So now to bring that back to wrestling, Matt Hardy and Christian could have been happy with the spot they had as tag partners to bigger stars and whatnot, but they had the drive and want to have more. 20 years later, they've now stepped on so many people to get their legendary status. Otherwise, if they weren't selfish and looking out for themselves, they could have been stepped on by other people, and they wouldn't have become such legends 20 years later. So this is the same in pretty much every part of life and every job on the planet. There are humble people that don't strive for more than they need, but then those people are the ones that get stepped on by the others. So sometimes those people will have to go in the survival mode, start stepping on other people just to keep a roof over their head, food in their stomachs, and it's definitely a sad, sad fact of life. But this is as deep as a story you could get in wrestling, because everyone has been through this unless they are children. But those children will soon find out the harsh realities of the world soon enough, unfortunately. The main reason why I never wanted to bring a child into this world is just everything's hunky dory until they have to find out the real world. And then I would feel bad about bringing them into the real world. But enough about that. I'm just really into the definitely, if you're into the CM Punk storyline going on right now, make sure you watch this Matt Hardy stuff on BTE, because it's basically the exact same thing. Christian, Matt Hardy, and CM Punk are all legends because they had to step on people, and now they're either repenting or feeling bad or just doubling down on it, such as Christian is doing. So anyway, we go from that fun talk to Trent's back in the arena talking to Captain Sean Dean, of all people. Ryan Nemeth comes up. He starts talking about sharks again, and then they all talk about great white sharks mating rituals. So a little awkward to go from the heavy stuff with the shades of gray in life, who's a real good guy, who's a real bad guy, a little comedy to break it up. So after that, we see a video of his man with his face blurred and his voice modified, but it's clearly smart Mark Sterling. So he says, I was doing my job perfectly well for a year. Everything was great. And then he just came in and took it. So I called Mark Sterling so he could straighten it out. So then we see Mark Sterling. This is like a commercial for his law firm, and he's wearing the exact same suit and tie that he just had while he had his face blurred, which is hilarious. And this ends up being a commercial for his firm about being replaced. And I'm guessing Sterling was talking about Stokely Hathaway replacing him as the manager of Jade Cargill. So now, really cool cameo here. We see Mark Jindrak, who was replaced by Batista in Evolution, and that's absolutely hilarious. Great cameo from a famous replaced wrestler in wrestling history. Awesome stuff here. Now we see Ryan, Sean Dean, and Trent talking about sharks even more. None of the Ryan Nemeth stuff was funny this week. He's basically a 50-50 guy with having his segments hit or miss. But the 50% that hit are really funny. So this was not one of the funny Ryan Nemeth segments of the this week, but usually when they are fun, half the time they're funny, and they're really funny. So anyway, Hangman Adam Page is now in the locker room with the Dark Order, and this is something that everybody was hoping to see because of the fact that CM Punk called out Adam Page, and Adam Page did not respond. So Adam is training. He's training the Dark Order here for their big tournament debut on this Friday on Rampage for the Trios tournament. They're actually using the Dark Order's using bungee cords to spin around like little mini flails, like the weapons with chains and like a spiked ball on the end. Except it's just bungee cords. So then Hangman says, "We have 1 week until our first tournament match." Evil Uno interrupts saying, well, I've been wanting to tell you guys this. Our foursome is actually more of a threesome. I won't be there next week for the tournament. I'm going to Germany to present our AEW Games brand, and we're going to present Fight Forever. So I know you were all thinking that we could team together, all four of us, and then Hangman yells, cutting off Uno, that this is a trios tournament. So the joke being that Hangman himself was the one to say, enter a foursome into the trios tournament. Basically, everyone's disappointed, but Evil Uno says, well, you guys can still win. Hangman's now yelling at them to get ready for next week as a crew member knocks on the door. This crew member comes in and starts to tell Hangman that CM Punk is calling him out in the ring, but Hangman interrupts right away, telling him, come on, we're busy in here. So Hangman never found out what the crew member was trying to tell him, explaining why Hangman did not accept CM Punk's challenge. Very interesting indeed. And that's what I said on the review of Dynamite. I said, well, this is fine as long as you explain what Hangman was doing, which they were able to do on BTE. I know not every AEW fan watches BTE, but they definitely should. You do get storylines, things that are canon, and things that affect, like the entire Hardy Boys Young Bucks feud was set up here on BTE, for example. So Ryan then talks to Trent about Sharks elsewhere, and that was not funny again. So now we see the Elite are back together, and they're coming out for their trios tournament match against La Facción Ingobernables. Big return after 9 months for Kenny Omega, who did come out with Don Callis still and Michael Nakazawa. So Kenny seemed to be happy to see all the fans, even wanting to save Dragon Lee at the end. So it kind of seems like Kenny might be back to a nice guy, but nothing is definitive yet. Plus, I have no idea if the Young Bucks are nice, good guys either. But don't forget what I just had a big diatribe about, shades of gray. There is no 100% nice or 100% bad people in this world. So now we see a ton of this match here, the trios match against LFI, Los Facción Ingobernables. But this is awesome. This is something we usually get on BTE, but this was great. We get as usual, Brandon Cutler's point of view. These are always great to watch on BTE. This match was definitely no exception. You get to see different angles from what was shown on TV. You get to hear the wrestlers and Brandon Cutler throwing out one-liners behind the camera. So the story here is that Kenny was showing ring rust and maybe rushed back to wrestling early, but I'm pretty sure that's all just the storyline here. Anyway, the Elite eventually get the win and will go on to the semifinals, either to take on Death Triangle or United Empire, represented by Will Ospreay and Aussie Open, which I think everyone in the world wants to see Omega and Ospreay in the same match. So hopefully United Empire can beat Death Triangle this week on Dynamite. After the match, we now hear Kenny Omega's speech after Dynamite. And if you're a Kenny Omega fan, make sure to watch this for sure. Otherwise, it's kind of what you would expect if you're not a huge Kenny Omega fan. One thing to note, however, was that Kenny says that he's not a good guy and might cheat the win still, but he wants to leave a legacy that's most importantly by changing the world through changing wrestling. Then they go to leave and through the bad guy tunnel, but they stop and leave through the good guy tunnel instead. So go back to what I said about shades of gray earlier. There is no pure white or black, just shades of gray. Anyway, before BTE ends, we will have a quick BTE title defense here. Champion John Silver will defend the title against Alex Reynolds in a flip cup challenge, first to 3 wins. So Reynolds gets the first point, but then Silver beasts through the next 3 points to retain his BTE title. After that, we see the Elite eating fast food. They bring up the ring rust and the compression shirt that Kenny Omega had to wear, but Kenny says he's fine. Then the Bucks thank Kenny for the help. Kenny somewhat implies that he rushed back. That's the whole story here. Kenny here implying that he rushed back because the Bucks needed help. Nakazawa and Cutler are both in the room and feeling sad that they weren't even considered as an option. Nakazawa and Cutler both start yelling about this, but then the Elite laugh at them, showing deep down that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are bad people because they are only using Nakazawa and Cutler to do their dirty work, and then they make fun to their face. You could say, oh, but they're paying them. Well, just because you employ someone doesn't give you the right to treat them as subhuman. So at the end of the day, the Elite are a-holes. Like I said, nothing's pure black or pure white. It's shades of gray, but deep down inside, the Elite are bad people. Just look at the way they treat their quote-unquote friends. So anyway, let's get into this week's episode of AEW Elevation from August 22nd, 2022. Well, before that, I had one more note. I was going to say that was an important episode of BTE, so make sure you watch it. Even if you're at all interested in the Elite, CM Punk, Christian, Matt Hardy, and Adam Page. So if you're interested in any of those guys, make sure you watch this. It did explain why Adam Page didn't accept CM Punk's challenge on Dynamite. So like I said, let's get to this week's AEW Elevation from August 22nd, 2022. It was recorded August 17th in Charleston, West Virginia, before that week's Dynamite. So I'm hoping Cole Carter can get a match tonight since this is his hometown, and he didn't get a match on Dynamite or Rampage because this is his hometown. So actually, we don't see Cole Carter at all. We know Cole Carter was there. He was in a tiny little segment backstage on Dynamite, I think it was, where the factory was getting their table overturned. But no match for Cole Carter in his hometown. That's a shame. You couldn't find Cole Carter a match on this 9-card Elevation. Like, come on. That's a little disappointing. But anyway, we start out this week's episode of Elevation starts with the JAS music playing, the Jericho Appreciation Society intro, and then Anna Jay comes out for the first match of the night, accompanied by Cool Hand Angelo Parker. And it would have been Daddy Magic, but for the second consecutive week, Daddy Magic Matt Menard is on commentary, and it was just as great as it was the first week. So Anna Jay comes into this with an 11-3 record in singles matches in 2022 and is back in the rankings at number 4. Anna Jay has been in the rankings a few times this year, but she lost 2 TBS title matches against Jade Cargill. The 24-year-old Anna Jay has been improving a little bit, but I think all these 2-minute matches she has where Anna does the same 4 moves and barely takes any bumps really is not improving her at the pace she should be. So hopefully that can change tonight against her opponent, Nikki Victory. But again, going back to Anna Jay might be stagnating. This is a match that we've already seen on Elevation this year where Anna beat Nikki in 80 seconds. So you could probably watch these 2 matches back to back and see if Anna Jay has indeed improved this year or not. I didn't have the time. I didn't go do it, but I could probably tell you, yes, Anna Jay has improved. She looked all right in this match. So Anna Jay definitely needs to sharpen up because Ruby Soho and Sky Blue are looking to get a piece of Anna Jay and Ty Mello soon, formerly known as Ty Conti. So Anna Jay starts the match nicely with a headlock and a shoulder tackle. Then Anna stomps and hits some nice running uppercut. Nikki fights back here with some forearms, but Anna Jay fires up, hitting a nice spinning heel kick, followed by a hook kick. Those were pretty nice. Then Anna applies the Queen Slayer, forcing Nikki Victory to tap out, and the winner of this match by submission, Anna JAS. I should have said earlier, that's her new name. So anyway, this was probably one of the best Anna Jay squash matches over the last month or so. She finally got rid of that terrible rolling kick where she wasn't botching it. It was just a bad move to do from the the move was bad. She was doing the move fine. It's just a bad move to do. It was too contrived looking. So anyway, great stuff. She got rid of that. She added a nice spinning heel kick and a hook kick instead, where she would have normally done that. Great stuff there. So she is improving. She's making her matches better, eliminating some moves that aren't working, but still, I think Anna Jay is ready for longer matches, and she definitely needs to work on the art of getting hit and taking bumps. Otherwise, it's always going to be a super clunky match whenever Anna Jay has to have a competitive match against someone like a Serena Deeb, like we saw in Anna Jay's hometown a month or 2 ago. So you're definitely going to have to work on your taking bumps, getting hit, and all the connecting stuff that makes a match a match. Right now, Anna Jay's improving on her moves and confidence in the ring and stuff like that, but these 2-minute, 1-minute squash matches aren't going to help her out with the bumping and the connecting moves together to create a match and stuff like that. Maybe they feel like she's just too not advanced enough per se to do better moves. So maybe they're just hoping that she can get that confidence to move up from like intermediate to advanced kind of deal. I think she's passed by the beginner section or the novice or whatever you want to call it. She's to the intermediate part and working on getting to the advanced part. So that's good stuff. She's still only 24 years old, so a lot of room to improve. And then I mentioned how I mentioned earlier, Ruby Soho and Sky Blue wanted to take out Anna Jay and Ty Mello. But first, Ruby Soho has her sights set on the AAA mixed tag team titles. that Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara currently hold. Remember, we saw them defend Sky Blue and her boyfriend Dante Martin failed to get the titles a couple weeks ago on Rampage. So now Ruby Soho will team with Ortiz, who also wants revenge against Sammy as well from when he got his head shaved. So this match will be on Rampage this week, the AAA mixed title match. But today on Elevation, Ruby Soho and Ortiz get a little warm-up match here tonight in mixed tag action. So their opponents will be Midas and Queen Aminata. And last time we saw the Queen, she got destroyed by a shotgun dropkick into the barrier from Athena, one of the toughest, hardest shotgun dropkicks I've ever seen in my life. So it's not often that we get mixed tag matches on AEW, but this will be the second of 3 mixed tag matches in a 3-week span. So the women will start this match, and anytime someone tags out, they have to leave the ring. So the men can only fight the men, women fight the women. Queen Aminata gets an armbar on right away and rubs her butt right in Ruby's face. The Queen did this last time, but that ended up getting her the hardest dropkick I've ever seen from Athena. Seems like Queen Aminata didn't learn from that, so Ruby now hits a nice kick combo in response, and then a back heel trip. Mickey now tags in, so Ortiz has to come in as well. Ortiz hits a big lariat, followed by a nice-looking powerbomb. Wow, nice from Ortiz. Then Ruby comes in, and Ortiz slams her on the Mickey Midas, and this makes Queen Aminata come in and slap Ortiz in the face. Ortiz then catches a kick from Aminata and throws the leg over the Ruby, but Ruby cannot catch the leg. So there's still a chemistry issues to work out. It's a work in progress. That's why they had this match to begin with, to work on their chemistry. So not quite a good sign here after botching the double team against a match coming up against a match against a married couple who's going to have a lot of chemistry. So Ruby eventually grabs the leg after dropping it, hitting a knee strike here, and that sends Queen Aminata out of the ring. Midas then grabs Ruby, so she hits the no future kick on the man here. Then Ortiz follows that up with a fisherman's buster on Midas for the 1-2-3. The winners of this match by pinfall, Ortiz and Ruby Soho. And wow, that was a great match from Ortiz. This definitely has me looking forward to the future on seeing him in the ring, not only on Rampage against Sammy Guevara, but also I'm excited to see Ortiz have a single run, maybe have a nice single run in the next year or so. I wouldn't just throw him in a different tag team with a different partner. They could do that, like maybe an Ortiz and Dante Martin, if they didn't want either of those guys to go into the singles division. But I think Ortiz showed tonight with some really nice moves. He's got some good power moves and some good technical moves as well. So this really got me looking forward to seeing him in the ring against Sammy Guevara on Friday, and which was the whole point of this match. Also, the work on their chemistry, which might have improved as well. So great stuff. I like this match a lot. We got a special one next as Dante Martin comes out for the next match, and it'll be his first match since failing to capture those AAA mixed tag titles we were talking about on Rampage 2 weeks ago. So Dante Martin has also lost his last 2 singles matches. Those were against Lee Moriarty and Sammy Guevara. So Dante definitely needs to get things back on track, as his brother Darius is still out injured. So Dante will have to work on getting into the singles rankings right now. His opponent already in the ring is Jackson Drake, who's making his AEW debut. Jackson is a young 18-year-old prodigy who has been wrestling since he was 13 years old. So we've got an 18-year-old in the ring with 5 years of experience already, and this should be a great high-flying match. Both men are small and quick. So I've never seen a Jackson Drake match before. I've heard the name, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Dante Martin wants to shake hands at the beginning here, but Jackson tries a cheap shot right away. So Dante evades the attack and with his elite agility here, and then Dante hits an arm drag. Jackson catches a pump kick after this and hits a nice fisherman's buster for a 2 count. Nice from the 18-year-old. Dante then counters the next attack with a nice striking combo and a vertical suplex. Dante fires up now with some big elbow strikes, and Dante jumps over an attack, hitting an enziguri followed by a diving crossbody for a 2 count. That looked nice. The diving crossbody actually caught the knee of Dante hit the mouth of Jackson as they were going down. Jackson Drake, the 18-year-old, is now completely busted open from his mouth. He might have lost a tooth on that diving crossbody. Poor 18-year-old Jackson Drake, who now still has to wrestle the rest of the match. Jackson blocks the suplex, and Dante jumps off the bottom rope, the flip over Jackson. Dante has a new finisher. It's a half and half slam. Pretty cool looking, and that gets the 1, 2, 3. So the winner of this match by pinfall, Dante Martin. So two notable things here. First, that seems like a new finisher for Dante Martin, somewhat a finisher that he can use against smaller guys, someone that he can actually lift up. But second thing of note here is poor 18-year-old Jackson Drake has been completely busted in his mouth, might have lost a tooth. He looks in terrible shape here. There's blood everywhere. So it might have happened on that crossbody. Dante Martin's knee, when he landed down on Jackson, the knee hit the mouth hard. I think Jackson split his lip, maybe lost a tooth. So good toughness from the 18-year-old kid to finish this match out, and he will never, ever forget his AEW debut. So I hope to see more of Jackson Drake in the future. For an 18-year-old, he had a pretty good, he was still a small guy, but he had muscle definition in his body, and looked like he was comfortable in the ring, having already wrestled 5 years, only at 18 years old. So that's a name that keep in the back of your mind. It might be another 4 or 5 years before he does something notable, but that's one of those names you can keep in the back of your mind, Jackson Drake. And good toughness to get through this match, despite bleeding everywhere. So next, the Women of 1,000 Holds. The Professor Serena Deeb comes out next for her second straight week on Elevation in a singles match. Last week, Deeb got the big win, or got back in the win column after losing a second chance at a world title this year, having lost to Thunder Rosa for the AEW world title, and now she's lost to Mercedes Martinez for the ROH world title. So Serena's opponent already in the ring is Megan Meyers, who comes into this match at 0-4, and this will be Megan's third match for AEW just this month of August. So maybe this is a big tryout match for Megan Meyers against the Professor to see if AEW wants to bring Meyers on a regular basis to the roster. So like I said, this is the third time in August. Anyway, huge match in Megan Meyers' career. A good match tonight might change her life and get her signed. So Serena applies a full Nelson right away, then kicks Megan hard in the back of the head, breaking the hold herself. They tie up, and Serena hyperextends the arm. Megan tries to get out, but Deeb is just way too technical and just tosses Megan around and ties her up in knots. The Professor teaching a class here. Deeb then grabs Megan by the mouth, and the crowd is booing big time. Serena Deeb is getting a ton of boos. Great stuff. You'd love to see it. Deeb now paintbrushes Megan, and that just fires Megan up after talking trash as well. Megan hits a few strikes here, but Deeb absolutely destroys her with a clothesline. Then she takes Megan to the corner with big strikes. Serena Deeb hits a dragon screw leg whip across the ropes, followed by a twisting neck breaker. Megan did not take that move very smoothly and is definitely out of her depth in this match. Serena Deeb then applies the Serenity Lock, banging the knee into the mat and then reapplying the lock, forcing Megan Meyers to tap out. The winner of this match by pinfall, Serena Deeb, and wow, was Deeb ultra aggressive in that match. You love to see it, and that's why Deeb is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, women's wrestler in the entire world right now. So I would have said if this was a tryout for Megan Meyers, she might have failed the Professor's test, because that neck breaker towards the end did not look very good at all, and Megan Meyers completely looked outclassed in this match. I mean, Serena Deeb outclasses most wrestlers, so that's nothing to be too worried about, but there wasn't a lot of big moves that Megan had to take if this was indeed a test, and that spinning, twisting neck breaker did not land very smoothly. Megan didn't take a very good bump, which is going back to what I was saying about how Anna Jay and who else? Anna Jay and Julia Hart both need to work on their bumping, because look at Megan had a decent match here, but her bumping was not very good. It was probably what lacked the most in her game, and it might cost her getting a contract here. So learning your moves and updating your move set and having evolving move set and all that is very important, but just as important is how you take moves, how you bump, how you react, how you string moves together to make an actual match. That's something that's the hardest part to figure out. There's some women, like in Alexa Bliss, for example, has never figured that out and completely drugged down a match last night on Raw, where she was just completely outclassed by everyone else in the ring. So sometimes it never comes to fruition, and people just let you keep going on with only strikes and pinfalls and like a DDT for your Alexa Bliss's finisher is a DDT, and her setup move is a forearm. Yes, she has the twisted bliss off the top rope, but yeah, that's just a top rope move. I'm pretty sure I can hit a twisted bliss and not kill people. I can land on my knees. I might break my wrist on my first try, but give me a couple of tries, I'll be able to do the twisted bliss, man. But anyway, enough catching strays over here from me for Alexa. Anyway, as we found out on BTE, the Dark Order will not have Evil Uno with them during the big trios tournament match this Friday on Rampage. So the other 3 Dark Order members come out for a huge warm-up match here. Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and 10 are 7-1 as a trios team. Their only loss was the Max Caster and the Gun Club, and that was the last match. So they started out their careers, Reynolds, Silver, and 10 as 7-0 in a trios team, just losing the last match 2 months ago on Dark. So they had their first trios team match 2 years ago, so they should have plenty of chemistry to give them a fighting chance against House of Black, who might be in their weakest moment right now with Brody King being put into a coffin only 2 weeks ago. We haven't seen Brody King since he was put into a coffin. We also saw Miro attack Malachi Black and bring out his mask. We didn't see him attack Malachi Black. We just assumed because he had the Malachi Black mask. And also Buddy Matthews is just returning from injury. So Dark Order will have a legitimate chance to beat House of Black this Friday. Dark Order's opponents tonight will be Alexander Apollo, Damian Soravino, who are both making their AEW debut, and their partner is RC Dupree, who's had one AEW match before, losing the Dark Order of all people in a 10-man tag. All 3 members of Dark Order that were in the match tonight were in that match earlier. So Evil Uno is still here. He's on the outside as he has not traveled to Germany yet. So John Silver and Soravino are going to start this match. Silver hits a shoulder tackle right away, then a gorilla press into a flying uppercut. Nice start by Silver. Alex Reynolds now tags in. They hit a double team, and 10 also tags in. Good tactic there. Something they might use against House of Black, where I kind of missed the it was like a blind tag from 10. So they hit a double team and then had a blind tag for the third guy to come in and attack right after. That's a good tactic there. 10 now hits a 10-second delayed vertical suplex. Reynolds now tags back in, but Servino counters an attack, hitting a jawbreaker. Alexander Apollo now tags in, and we have 2 Alexes in the ring. Alex Reynolds takes him down and hits a standing stomp. Then Apollo rakes the eyes and tags in RC Dupree. Soravino then tags in as well, and Reynolds is able to fight out of the corner of a triple team here, and he's able to tag in 10, who comes in hitting a huge Mafia kick, big boot, followed by a pump kick, followed by a spine buster, taking all 3 men out. Great hot tag by 10. 10 then follows this with a Silver tags in, and the Dark Order hit a nasty double team followed by a triple team, and this gets the 1, 2, 3. The winners of this match by pinfall, Dark Order. So those double team and triple team moves at the end were awesome, and that trios match on Rampage should be great. So this is just a nice little warm-up match. This trios team now improves to 8-1 in their career in AEW. Good stuff. So now, speaking of House of Black, for the next match, the lights go out, and when they come on, Julia Hart is there for the next match. So I forgot Julia Hart has new amazing music now. If you're a Skyrim fan, you would definitely think, oh, this music sounds like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls. Like, it's a woman singing a dark song, and I really love it. Julia Hart has some of the best music in the business right now. That is a great song. I am a Skyrim elite Elder Scrolls mark myself, so of course I love it. So definitely give it a chance. If you haven't heard the new Julia Hart song, you have to go find it. It's especially if you like Skyrim and that kind of music from Skyrim. I love the Julia Hart song. So Julia has gone undefeated since joining the House of Black. And just like I was saying about Anna Jay, Julia is super young and on elevation every single week, but it's super short matches where they take no bumps. They really need to start working on their bumps. Last week, Julia did do a little bit more, so hopefully tonight's better. Julia's opponent will be Hayley Shadows, who we just saw last week making her NWA debut. She took on the NWA Women's Champion Camille in a losing effort. So this is Hayley Shadows' AEW debut as well. 2 debuts for her in a week's time. Hayley Shadows actually has a similar gimmick and look to Julia Hart, so this one should be interesting. Julia's mumbling something under her breath and staring into Hayley's soul before inching closer and closer until she's able to hit a big kick, big boot. We saw that last week as well. Julia unloads big strikes in the corner now. Hayley Shadows battles back with big strikes of her own, but Julia hits a nice lariat followed by a handspring lariat right after, and then a running back elbow as well. So good stuff from Julia. Julia's moving around super slow. Basically, she's acting like she's the original Undertaker with the slow movements, the methodical beat downs and stuff, which is pretty cool when it's coming from the image of that the old style of Undertaker with I don't know 5'4" 20-year-old blonde. Like, it's pretty cool looking actually, like the way it looks. So anyway, Julia hits a huge kick, seems to be in complete control, and Julia says the house always wins before applying her new vicious version of the it was like the brutalizer before, but now it's like the brutalizer, but she bends all the way back, showing good flexibility, and it looks nasty. So of course this forces Hayley Shadows to tap out. The winner of this match by submission, Julia Hart. And like I said, Anna Jay and Julia do both look comfortable and aggressive, but they still are not practicing bumps whatsoever, and they're not having any competitive matches. So, but like I said, I do like the new slow style from Julia Hart. Not too many people in 2022 are doing that style, so it'll definitely make Julia Hart stand out. But I really hope we need Julia Hart to take on Anna Jay. They're both heel right now, but they really need to like have a match and just show like how much bumping they need to do. They never take bumps, and then they're going to be terrible when they have a competitive match. So anyway, Josh Woods and Tony Nese now come out, and they're accompanied by Smart Mark Sterling. We saw Woods and Nese get a big win on Elevation last week after losing their Rampage street fight to the champion Swerve in Our Glory. So now Woods and Nese need to get some wins here to climb back up the rankings to get another shot at the champions. In the ring already is Andrea Gurchio, or I don't know how to pronounce it. And then it's Logan James. They're both making their AEW debut. Logan James is the tag team veteran, so maybe they'll have a chance. He was trained by OVW and has recently been working for IWA Mid-South. Andrea has found the secret forbidden door because he just wrestled on Raw a few weeks ago, losing to Omos in a handicap match. So now Andrea, 9 days later, is on AEW when this was recorded. So he's also known as the Mambo Italiano. So Tony Nese is going to start this match with Logan James and destroys him right away with big strikes. Nese then hits a scoop slam and tags in Josh Woods, who destroys Logan James even more, hitting a knee to the gut after that. Andrea now tags in, and he hits two big kicks, but the third one misses. That was a good kick combo, though. Josh Woods then hits a gut-wrench powerbomb. Logan has to come in and break up the pin. Nese then takes out Logan and hits a plancha to the outside onto him. Josh then lifts up Andrea while Nese comes in as well. They try to hit a double team here, but Nese pretty much was too late and the timing was off. And that was the big finish too. So the winners of the match by pinfall, Josh Woods and Tony Nese. So what Woods was trying to do was a Olympic slam, and then Nese was going to do a neck breaker as well. But Nese was too late and the timing was off. Unfortunate that was the big finish, but this is a new tag team, and this is exactly why they're having these matches on Elevation, so that they can get their double team timing together. Not much more to say about that. Just it was good that it happened. It wasn't great to watch, and hopefully they get better as we go here. So big moment next as Death Triangle now come out for a warm-up match for their trios tournament this week on Dynamite against United Empire. So this is their first trios match since beating the Wingmen on Elevation 2 months ago. So Pac, Penta, and Rey Fenix are 5-2 as a trios team. They've lost to the House of Black and the Elite in the past. And both of those teams could meet Death Triangle in the finals if they get all the way there. Those could be the two teams they've already lost to in their careers, might be who awaits them if they get to the finals. So the crowd goes absolutely wild once they realize who was coming out. Unfortunately, nobody knew whose music was playing because we never hear the Death Triangle music anymore. So their opponents tonight will be Dean Alexander, Rosario Grillo, and the Man Scout, Jake Manning, who I've known for 15 years from the Independents. Love the Man Scout. So Dean Alexander, he's actually worked with Pac before in AEW, losing in 41 seconds during the pandemic era. Dean was a regular for AEW in the pandemic era, amassing a nasty 0-26 record. Dean is also part of that crew that includes Captain Sean Dean and Charlie Bravo. And too bad it wasn't them in the trios match. We saw on BTE from this week that Charlie Sean Dean was in the back, so they could have at least had Sean Dean. I guess maybe they didn't want to give Sean Dean a loss. They must be doing something because Sean Dean has those 2 wins over MJF and a win over Sean Spears this year. So maybe they're still planning on doing something with Sean Dean and his really good singles record, or just good record in general. Like, why is Sean Dean in the back on BTE, but he's not on Elevation? Like, explain that to me. I can't even remember the last time we saw Sean Dean on Elevation. So anyway, the Man Scout is going to start this match with Pac, and Man Scout gets wrist control here, but Pac gets out and hits a scoop slam. Penta now tags in, hitting a top rope missile drop kick right to the gooch of the Man Scout. That looked painful. Now Fenix and Dean Alexander tag in. Dean gets hit with 2 nasty double teams in a row. That was awesome from Lucha Brothers. Man Scout now has to come in and save the pin. Man Scout beats up Fenix here, but Pac throws him out of the ring. Then Fenix hits a hook kick on Rosario Grillo, and then Grillo must have tagged in at some point. I didn't see it. Pac then hits a Claymore kick, then tags in Penta, who hits a Fear Factor package pile driver on Rosario. Phoenix kicks Dean outside of the ring, and the Man Scout is still down, so the referee counts 1, 2, 3. The winners of this match by pinfall, Death Triangle. So they celebrate with a birthday boy child in the ring. The kid is not wearing any shoes, and that's exactly what I would expect from West Virginia. A kid without shoes in the ring. Never changed, West Virginia. So it is time for the main event, and boy, it looks like a good one, as Sky Blue will get a great lesson tonight, sharing the ring with 3 other Joshi wrestlers from Japan in this tag team match. So Sky Blue is by far the furthest along of the 5 young women in AEW roster, and that would be Julia Hart, Anna Jay, Sky Blue, and the Renegade Twins, Charlotte and what's her name? Robin and Charlotte Renegade. So those are the 5 super young women, and by far Sky Blue has shown that she's already in the advanced class, while the other ones are trying to get out of intermediate. So Sky Blue showed way more advanced moves and understanding of how to wrestle, and can actually take bumps. So that's great to see. Emi Sakura now comes out first for this match, and it's the crowd goes absolutely wild when her partner comes out, and it is Maki Ito, who comes out singing to the ring. Always great to see Maki, who brings a different level of energy and passion to every match she has. Emi is not quite pleased with having the team with Maki Ito. Emi Sakura rolls her eyes as Maki sings her way to the ring. So this is a good match for Maki Ito as well, to get more experience teaming with one of the greatest women's trainers of all time, Emi Sakura. So out next to Shida's music is both Sky Blue and Hikaru Shida, who is now, Shida has a new title belt. It's the Regina de Wave Championship from Pro Wrestling Wave in Japan. So Shida just won the title against Suzu Suzuki, who's also great, and this is going to be Shida's 2nd time with the title, having lost it all the way back in 2015. Getting it back in 2022. So Sky Blue and Shida are doing their introductions in the ring here. Emi Sakura and Maki Ito attack from behind to start this match. Maki even used her kawaii ribboned microphone to take Sky out from behind before the bell rings. No DQ. So Emi Sakura brawls with Sky Blue outside of the ring. Inside the ring, Shida blocks a microphone shot from Maki, but Maki blocks a punch with her hard head, and that hurts Shida's hand. Maki then takes Shida down with a headbutt, but the Kokeshi headbutt drop misses right after. Daddy Magic is kind of burying Maki's gimmick here, but he warms up to it as the match goes. Sky Blue and Emi Sakura now tag in. Sky gets a go behind, but Emi counters, getting waist lock of her own. Then Sky bounces off the ropes and turns it into a nice pin. That was cool. So Emi now kicks out at 1. Sky hits a step-up knee strike, and then Emi busts out some Mongolian chops here that I wasn't expecting, and that was cool. Emi then also attacks Shida on the apron. Remember, they've rekindled their rivalry. Emi is the trainer and teacher of Emi Sakura back in the day. So Emi then does a hair deal on Sky Blue back in the ring, and does the we will chop you chops, followed by the corner cross body. Maki Ito now tags in. She applies a camel clutch while doing the Ahigao face. Daddy Magic laughs his butt off, but I don't even think he knows what Ahigao is. So anyway, Seth hits not Seth, but Sky Blue hits a forearm. Maki Ito hits one right back. Sky counters a move with a nice enziguri kick. Shida now tags in and hits Maki with a shoulder tackle. Shida then knocks Emmy off the apron before hitting a huge punch to Maki's face. Then Shida hits corner mounted punches, but it's right to the hard head of Maki, who absorbs it. But Shida hits a drop kick right after, and that takes Maki down. Shida then hits a deadlift vertical suplex. Emmy kicks the back of Shida after that while still on the apron, and this makes Shida super mad, and she goes after Emmy Sakura. This allows Maki to come up from behind, pulling the hair, and then hit a headbutt to the back of Shida's head. Maki's now able to hit the Kokeshi headbutt drop, and Daddy Magic has completely warmed up the Maki now, and he's even giving her praise. Excuse me. Emmy tags in now and really wants to hurt Shida. They have a long rivalry that has been renewed over the last month. Emmy hits a big boot to the face, but Shida blocks the next attack, hitting a kick combo here. Emmy hits a big chop right after that, but Shida hits a T. Harris, and both women tag out. Sky Blue and Maki Ito run in. Sky hits a big flurry of strikes, but Maki's able to absorb a turnbuckle shot to her iron head. Then Sky tries it again. This just fires up Maki, who hits her own head into the turnbuckle more. Sky's able to block a headbutt here and kick Maki right in the knee. Maki then blocks the thrust kick, but Sky hits a nice sliding kick in Seguri right after that. Maki's able to absorb that kick, however, hitting a nasty headbutt, and Sky is in trouble after that. Emmy Sakura tags in. They double team Sky Blue. Then Emmy pushes Maki away, who wanted to do another Ahigao face. But Emmy hits a delayed face buster after that, and Shida springs off the ropes to come in and break the pin. Sky then hits a shake, rattle, and roll neck breaker on Maki Ito, who had ran in as well. Then Emmy hits a big lariat on Sky, but Shida immediately comes in and hits a lariat on Emmy. Emmy then counters the next attack from Shida, hitting a nice release backdrop suplex. What a match, and this is awesome. What a great main event. Definitely make sure you watch this one. Sky Blue almost surprises Emmy with a roll-up, and Emmy's able to kick out at 2. Right after, Sky accidentally super kicks her own partner, Shida. Uh-oh. Then Maki follows that up with a diving DDT on Shida, and the two legal women are now fighting in the ring, Emmy Sakura and Sky Blue. Sky hits a big forearm, but Emmy hits a tilt-the-world backbreaker. Maki now holds on to Shida while Emmy hits the Queen's Gambit, her finisher on Sky Blue, and Shida can't get past Maki Ito. The referee counts 1, 2, 3. The winners of this match by pinfall, Emmy Sakura and Maki Ito. Wow, I did not see that coming. Emmy actually finally gets a win over her rival Shida. Sure, she didn't pin her, but in the records book, she beat Shida. You know what I'm saying? It's a tag match. So right after the match, Shida breaks free from Maki Ito and attacks Emmy Sakura. They're pulling each other's hair here. Emmy tells Shida that she wants that wave title, and Shida goes to get the title, holds up the wave title in front of Emmy's face as Elevation ends. So like I said, awesome main event. You have to watch this main event if you have any passing interest in the AEW women's division. Sky Blue once again proved that she's the top of the class when it comes to the young women's division, or the young women in the division. So good stuff by Sky Blue. She can take bumps. She can do moves. She's still working on making her moves smooth, but the fact that she has like advanced moves in her arsenal, unlike the rest of the young guns on the women's roster. So good stuff here. Between BTE and Dark Elevation, I would say this was well worth my time watching and reviewing and all that. So hopefully you guys got something good out of this. I think pretty good stuff overall. A lot of warm-up matches and stuff for stuff that's going to happen later this week. A lot of different things like watching the women's division get better and better. And then, of course, all the big stuff on BTE. You had the Matt Hardy talking about stuff, which parallels Christian and CM Punk's own personal journeys that are going on right now. We get Kenny Omega back on BTE. We get the explanation as to why Hangman didn't accept CM Punk's challenge. So all in all, this was some pretty good stuff. I'll be back. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your message. Thanks for watching. But yeah, I'll be back maybe either later today or tomorrow with the Dark Elevate just regular Dark review, and it is not going to be spoiled. I mean, still it won't be those stale 1 month old Dark. These were just taped over the last weekend, so it's only going to be a couple days old for the stuff we get on Dark this week. And I've already watched this week's AEW, because I always do the AEW with RJ City review alongside Dark. I've already watched it this week with Tony Storm. Make sure you watch that. There was some great chemistry between Tony Storm and RJ City. Really enjoyable interview. So I'm going to get going for now. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Peace.